Hey, welcome to the Adult Conversations podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in to the Adult Conversations channel, where we discuss topics of adult content. This segment that I am introducing to you today is of the Unity, U.N.I.T.Y discussion meeting. Let me forewarn you that some of the audio is muffled, goes in and out, and there is a minor interruption. So my apologies, as I have been having some technical difficulties with the audio functioning. You can still hear important points being made, so please continue to key in. Don't forget you can follow me on IG at Ishanae Pollard. That's ISHANAEPOLLARD, where I will be posting the latest information on segments to the Adult Conversations podcast, events, and also information about my upcoming books. So be on the lookout for my new book, The Problems with Us. It is going to be out there soon. Yay! So again, please pay close attention to some of the topics that are being discussed. And I want to hear what your viewpoints are, your thoughts and your concerns. If you are a part of the Adult Conversations group, make sure that you comment. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And let me know what you think. Take a listen. We can start off with introductions. I'll go. I really wanted to start this discussion because of everything that is going on, trying to figure out ways that we can better enhance our communities and things of that nature. So I don't know if everybody was able to see the YouTube video of the first Unity meeting, but we had some good dialogue, and I wanted to continue it and then actually start off with coming up with action plans and solutions to some of the issues that we're seeing. So that's why I wanted to begin this. Anybody else want to go next?
I'll go. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm Lester Waller. I'm from Cincinnati. I wasn't on the call last week, but I did listen to it. Excuse the background noise. I got my kids cutting grass. So.
You good?
That's pretty much it. And I just, I feel like I got some things to say. It was good listening and hearing people's ideas and thoughts last week. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm Tanisha. I wanted to join this because I feel like there's a lot of things and issues that need to be brought up in our community, and we need to discuss, and a lot of issues within our own community that I think hold us back. So I wanted to be part of this to help, bridge the gap between those and kind of set us up so we can succeed on our own.
Right.
I'm Karen. I'm in Cleveland. I did not get a chance to listen to it this week. I've been dealing with a lot of family stuff, but I will as soon as I can. But being a black man in America is always challenging, and I know there's a lot I can do in the community to keep my legacy, because I'm 35. My job is to make sure my son has some future to live for.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you. Welcome. So I kind of typed up some different topics of discussion, some points that we can start off with, and then we can just go from there. Whatever you feel comfortable with talking about, just go ahead and chime in and do what you do. I wanted to actually further discuss more of our issues that we're seeing within our communities. What is it that we feel are major issues that we really, really need to keep on when we talk about the black community and what we see?
I'll go first. That's a lot. I mean, just education, knowledge, self-respect for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
When I first moved to America, I lived in 105 in Pasadena, and I drove past there the other day, and it's just, I was disgusted, and I was like, wow. I spent my first 5 years in America here, and it was not this bad, but now it's just a whole bunch of drug dealers and craziness over in that area. And I'm like, we can do better as a culture, as a community. We can do so much better.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I like the fact that you mentioned about the self-respect, because that's definitely lacking within our communities individually. All of that, definitely can tell that. What about you, Lex?
I think the lack of, like you said, respect, ultimately, sorry about the background, lack of respect, lack of responsibility and accountability, like I said last week, and I think just a lack of education about so many issues.
Yes.
And the fact that we don't even try to, educate ourselves on these issues, which, I understand everybody doesn't have access to it, but it's our job to, seek out as much information as we can in order to change. And if we don't, we gonna stay the same, unfortunately.
Exactly. What about you, Lester?
Well, just to piggyback what was said, the first young man who spoke, I've been working in the school system for like 3 years, and even the way the kids respond to adults, that's a major issue.
There's no respect
at all. And I've seen, like, I worked in a school where it was predominantly black children. We were pretty heavily staffed as far as African Americans. But what would happen is we would be there to help them, and instead of listening to us and taking the things that we say, they'll run to the white teachers who are constantly getting them in trouble, kicking them out of class. And I got to the point where I did in-school suspension, and I would see school starts at 7:45. Teachers are yelling at 7:45. As soon as the kid says something back, they're in ISS with you for the rest of the day. And I got to the point where this is K through 6, and I'm like, when are y'all gonna stop falling for these white folks' games? You gotta be smarter than that. They're gonna get paid on the 1st and the 15th, regardless if you in class or not.
Right.
And on top of that, the parents' support is terrible. I've been to 3 different schools, and you call the parents, you reach out to the parents, you try to work with them, they don't answer the phone. Like through this whole quarantine period, I had students who didn't pick up work packets. And it's like, in order, all the stuff that we've been doing over the last few years, or several years, I should say, with the protests and the marching, that's all great. It's all beautiful. But we won't necessarily see the change. We won't see the change with our generation. It'll come with that next generation. So, in my opinion, I think we need to do a better job of building up and educating our youth, whether you're the parent of that child or not. And it might work, it might not, but as long as we keep trying, eventually you're gonna see, the things you've taught come to fruition with maybe it's 1 kid, maybe it's 10 kids. It doesn't matter, as long as you change the outlook for some kid. Those are my thoughts on that.
And so, go ahead.
One more thing. Another thing, I think a lot of these kids lack structure.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, like you have, they don't. I guess what I want to say is kids crave structure. Whether we realize it or not, they have to have that. Whether a lot of them aren't getting it at home. So, a lot of them aren't getting it at home, so they have to get it from somewhere. And I think if we could provide some of that for them, that we will ultimately set the tone for them going forward. Because it doesn't matter where that structure comes from. It don't matter if it's from your grandma, your granny, your next door neighbor, your school mentor, it don't matter who it comes from, as long as you can get it from somebody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that'll make a difference in some of these kids.
Exactly. And then how do we also like start switching their minds to start focusing on stuff like this, because of the fact that a lot of, I'm gonna say, our generation, the generation that's under us, they're so caught up in these different fads, these different trends and things like that, and it's like the focus on changing our issues is not the focus, and it needs to be. So how can we fight against that and get them to start looking at, like, look, this is what you need to pay attention to in order for us to change narratives in this country? Because it's so easy for this to be, oh yes, we're marching, the Black Lives Matter, but then the next month we back to the same thing, and we still, you know, sitting up there talking about, oh shit, we need to do this and we need to do that. Okay, well, why was the momentum lost? How do we keep our mind engulfing this?
Unfortunately, we live in a technically advanced generation now, and the white man controls the media, and they are going to set an oppressed mindset on these kids. You know, you jump on Facebook, Instagram, the news in general, they're not going to talk about what the black community is doing positive. They're going to talk about the negatives,
right.
You know, the drug dealers, the gangsters, and unfortunately, kids in this day and age, they spend the majority of the time on their tablets,
mm-hmm.
and they're influenced by what they see.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and my son's mom aren't together. I don't know what she do when he's with her, but with me, he has a set time on his tablet. After that, no, yes. We're not about to spend 8 hours of the day on the tablet going through YouTube and any of that. So until we get back to the old school ways, like when I was raised, it literally took a village to raise me. Like
mm-hmm.
I had 20 aunts and uncles that are like my mom and dad. It's like, if my parents aren't there, trust me, one of my uncles will discipline me, or one of my grandmother or my aunts. Is like, we don't have that anymore. We lost that somewhere along the line, and
right.
It's become a norm for us to have this new mentality, and we got to break that norm. Until we do, we're just going to be running in circles. As he said, we're doing all this right now. Things look great, but 6 months down the line, what's going to be the perception?
Exactly.
Yeah. And go ahead. To go along with that, it's hard to it is, as much as we might try to in the occupations that we have, like it was just said, you got the social media and all that, and of course what sells when it comes to us is always seeing us selling drugs, rapping, playing sports,
the twerking and all that.
And even with my kids, like to go along with what he just said, I have two boys, 12 and 13 years old. And I stay on top of them. Their mom stays on top of them. Sometimes we have different views, but no matter how hard we try as adults to raise our kids, they will always be exposed to the outside world, especially because of what's going on with social media and all that, as well as the fact that if we really think about it, our kids spend the majority of their days away from us.
Yeah.
So the heavy influences come from their friends who see certain stuff and grow up a certain way. And I, like with my kids, I've had to tell them several times, listen, what X, Y, and Z person do, that don't have nothing to do with you, because they probably are not going to get disciplined when they get home. But you know good and well, if you do certain stuff, you're going to have to deal with consequences when you get home.
Exactly.
And they don't necessarily see that. Like, and I'm a product of that. I grew up with, my parents have been married they just celebrated 38 years in May.
Oh, nice.
And it is, back when I was growing, my dad was a military guy. So my dad was strict. I mean, listen, you mess up, you're going to get it. And even though me and my sister came up in the same house, the result is different. It'll be like that. And I mean, neither one of us is bad. We've never been to jail, this, that, and the third. But in this generation, it's different. It's just so much that kids have to deal with, from being influenced by gangs and drugs and sex and all kind of other stuff. So it's the biggest thing we can do is just try to stay on top of them as much as we possibly can every opportunity we get, whether it's stranger or relative. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And just to piggyback. Oh, go ahead.
I think another thing is, like they said previously, like with the news and everything is social media, and this generation is so sensationalized. Like they want instant results.
Yes.
And I think that is part of the problem. They don't realize that everything doesn't come instantly.
Exactly.
Like you can get on your phone and instantly pull up this, instantly pull up that. Whether it's true or not, that's a whole different story. But I think that whole idea of everything in a, matter of a second, matter of a minute, and instead of kind of teaching them and slowing them down, like, look, okay, you set a goal, you create your steps. That's how you're going to achieve that. And it's not going to come instantly. You might get setbacks, you might get, think it's done. But we have to start, I think, instilling in them that everything isn't going to come in a matter of a second. When it takes the amount of time it takes you to type it in on your phone or your tablet, whatever, and pull it up. Results, they don't happen like that. Real results that are consistent, you got to work for those. And it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes dedication.
Exactly. And I like how it was mentioned about it takes a village, because I think what we're seeing right now is our family dynamics have definitely shifted and changed. And we don't see like how it was back in the day, where if you got in trouble with your grandparents, you was gonna go home and get in trouble with your parents too. And then if somebody down the street seen you was getting in trouble by them. And it's just like the responsibility and the accountability is not there anymore. You got parents cussing out teachers when they're trying to tell you, like, your son wasn't doing this or your daughter wasn't doing this. And we're seeing a lot of the parents wanting to be the kids' friends and stuff like that. It's just the family dynamics is definitely obscured and changed from what it was back then, which I think plays a role in a lot of what we're seeing too, because we have to hold the generation under us accountable too. When we're gone, who's going to be doing the fighting for us, or for them, I should say? Who's going to be doing the marching? We can't lose focus on what the focus is. I'm trying to think which was the next question. Like, what are some different solutions that we could do or come up with to correct these issues? Like, how can we promote change that we really want to see?
That's being a good role model. And I mean, when I say being a good role model, I mean all the way around. We literally have to watch what we do 24/7, whether it's social media, whether they see, it's almost, they see all and they hear all. And it's kind of hard, because we need our time to do what we want to do, and we gotta make kids are visible and see those things as little as possible, if that makes sense.
Look like it's something on your mind.
I mean, just to piggyback off what he said, I mean, we got to set a good example. For me personally, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Masonic lifestyle, but I'm a Mason. So ever since I've been one, my son has been much more attentive. So So as a Mason, I have to carry myself a certain way. I try not to bring the stress and the nonsense of corporate America home. Like when I clock out, I clock out.
Right.
I come home and I'm a father. My focus is him. That's it. I also try to not bring the drama that me and his mom will sometimes have. Mm-hmm. I try to handle that in the most friendly way possible, just so, because we both have an influence in his life.
Right.
I try to keep it out of his view, but as the gentleman said, my son is very smart and he knows.
Right.
So when he brings it up, like the other day he was with me, he was like, "Dad, why are you and mommy not together?" Well, now I have to explain that to him, and I'm like, certain relationships just don't work. I'm blessed that I have you. My responsibility is to give you the best life that I can. Mm-hmm. And me and your mother are going to do our best. We're not always going to see eye to eye. We have two different parenting styles, and we were raised different. Her family was more in the street life and the pimps and all that, where my family was, my father worked 2-3 jobs to try to prevent my mom from working. Mm-hmm. My older brother is like, he instilled in me at a young age to always work. My grandfather, man, talk about a man with many trades. It's like there was nothing my grandfather would not or could not do. Your car shut down, he got you. Your roof is leaking, he will get on the ladder and do it. He always was just moving and going. So it's tough, but we have to make changes. But we have to make those changes with ourselves first in order for our kids to see that. Like, we can't expect the white man to teach a black child how to be black in America. It's just not going to happen.
At all.
And I think what you said was key about relationships in co-parenting. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like I said, my parents have been married for 38 years, so that's all I knew. I was with my kids' mother. We have, like I said, 2 boys. We were together for 11 years, from the age of 19 to 31. And then when we split, they were 7 and 8. Okay. And that was kind of hard for them. And it was hard for me, too. I didn't know. Even though I was 31, I wasn't mature enough to put BS aside all the time. Mm-hmm. And even within our relationship, when it was great, it was great. When it was bad, it was bad. And they saw the bad. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, that's something I regret. And now,
hey, honey, give me a kiss. I'm running to the stove. Sorry. I've
matured enough to the point where we have a great co-parenting relationship. We have some disagreements, mm-hmm. not arguments, but disagreements, and we have a friendship, and they see that, which hopefully they now see, like, this is how a man is supposed to treat a woman. This is the right way. And I talk to him, I explain those things to him. And also, another key thing said, we can't trust, or we can't, not trust, but we can't allow people who don't look like us to teach our kids how to live like us, mm-hmm. or how to live the proper way like us.
Right? Exactly. So my next question that I had wrote down, or as a topic, would be the roadblocks or obstacles that we will face, like trying to promote change or trying to come up with solutions. What do you think are our most biggest obstacles with trying to promote this agenda to basically change narratives within our societies, our communities, I should say?
The mindset.
Definitely the mindset.
I mean, that's going to be the biggest challenge. As we've already said, this generation don't know what it is to work for anything. Yeah. They want it right now.
Right.
I believe it was in 2008 or 9, Barack Obama said it best. Not everybody is Lil Wayne, and not everybody is LeBron James.
Exactly.
Those guys are gifted at what they do. But they don't know the work that Lil Wayne put in. When he first came in the game as a 11-year-old kid, he was nothing like he is now. And vice versa, LeBron James, day in and day out, numbers in the gym. They don't see that. They just see the instant success. Oh, he's a multi-millionaire basketball player. Yeah, but he worked for that.
Exactly.
It's the mindset. We have this negative mindset about each other. It's only our culture. We're like a crab in the bucket mentality.
Yes.
You never see a black man or a black woman successful without bringing up the negative of their past.
Exactly.
Like, hey, we all got a past. Whether you were in the streets, whether you did something, you went to jail, that doesn't dictate who you are. Your past is your past. And we got to get that mindset. If we don't change our mindset, we won't see the necessary changes.
Definitely. And then also to piggyback off of what you said, the fact that we're so divided is definitely an obstacle and a roadblock for us too, because of our mindsets. Just like when you were saying how we go against each other and things like that. Like, it's always a competition. And we've been seeing this since we've been taught to do this in slavery era. Like, and it's like we still have not woke up from that. Like, okay, look, we were conditioned to be this way. Why haven't we changed this narrative yet? And we in 2020, like, it's crazy.
It's that's wild, because I saw, and I'm pretty sure you all have seen it. It was a meme on Facebook where it had slaves in shackles, and two male slaves. One said to the other, "My chain is shinier than yours, or more shiny than yours." Like, and I had mentioned the Willie Lynch letter to somebody on Facebook, and they had told me it was proven to be fake. But even if it was proven to be fake, everything that was said in a Willie Lynch letter still stands.
Exactly.
They put the black man versus the black woman. They demeaned the black man in front of the black woman and the children.
Mm-hmm.
They treated the light skins better than the dark skins. And we debate, and we might be joking, oh, light skin this, dark skin this. But the kids hear that and they feel a certain way about it. Like, I have one of my sons is light skinned. Like, so his older brother, he'll make fun of him for it. Or, you see dark skin, especially dark skinned young females.
Mm-hmm.
Their confidence at an early age is
shattered,
non-existent, because they're darker than everybody else. And we don't necessarily do a great job in our community of, pumping them up and giving them that confidence that they are beautiful, that they're no different, they're no worse than anybody else. So I think once we instill confidence in all, or at least try to, and let them know their worth, which starts in the home. It can't start nowhere else but in the home. Then I think that's when we'll see a shift in the mindset from the aspect of us being against each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's enough for everybody to eat out here.
Exactly.
Like we said, like everybody just said, everybody else is doing it. The Asians are doing it, the Jewish is doing it, the whites are doing it. The only people that ain't doing it is us.
Mm-hmm.
And look where we at.
We are the most powerful people on this earth.
Exactly.
Period. That's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because before they came and got our ancestors from Africa, civilization was already popping over there. We were already popping. I saw something in a video where it talked about the first signs of a library in Africa and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But, obviously when we came over here, all that changed.
Right.
But we can get it back. We might not see it in our lifetime, but if we start to change the narrative enough, we'll see slow progress. And by the time our children become grandparents, we might be on top of the world.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And something that you brought up, because I hate getting in debates about this too, about the Willie Lynch. I'm like, it's just it hits home too much for it to be fake. And I always like to give the analogy like, okay, well, if we think about basketball, football, other sports, would you ever tell your opponent what your play is? No, you would not, because then you'll figure it out and then they'll be able to win the game. So, yeah, of course there's a lot of people talking about, oh, that's not real, because you don't want us to figure out that this is what y'all did to us. So, no, I'm not going to believe that that's a fake document at all. I had to read that book, that little book, like 5 times for me to be like, okay, seriously, you guys, like, we have to really wake up, because we playing ourselves. We done already got played so many times, but we're playing ourselves now because we're allowing this to keep on living. So, yeah, no. Just thinking about it, it's just like, I get so pissed off because it's ridiculous.
It's very on point. And I just, maybe a year or two ago, I got the audio book and I listened, and it was quick, maybe 15 minutes or so. And like a couple minutes into it, I had to stop. And I called my kids in and I said, y'all need to sit here and listen to this. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and for me, hearing something at 31 and them hearing it at 11, 12 years old, 12, 13 years old, it's like you already have a head start on me. Mm-hmm. In that aspect. So, you know, but it's definitely, it can't be fake. It can't be.
Right, exactly. So what more should we do, like, within our communities? Because I know doing discussions like this, doing videos like this won't be enough. What more should we do? Or what should we encourage others to do more?
We gotta be able to police our own community.
Okay.
Like, I get so tired of hearing, don't get me wrong, we all grew up, don't be a tattletale, this, that, and the third. But here's my issue. This whole, and I've listened to other podcasts about snitching and this, that, and the third. Everybody don't live the street life. Mm-hmm. The street, the snitching comes when you're a part of that life and you call yourself being a gangster and all that in the game. That's for them. It is as stupid as it might be. That's for them. And I have a problem with it because when things happen in our community, everybody turns a blind eye. It's the bystander effect. Don't nobody want to say nothing until it's one of theirs. Yep. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, exactly. Whether it's first cousin, fifth cousin, neighbor, new person on the block, as long as they look like you, they're one of us. Mm-hmm. Right? So if we don't change that and we'll never get the bad. It'll never be 100% clean in our neighborhoods. We know that because it's not 100% clean in nobody's neighborhood. But we won't be able to get a stranglehold and live somewhat peacefully if we don't change that mind frame.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I really feel like that does us a disservice. I mean, I know that's a fad trend, whatever you want to call it, but it's not needed, for one, and then you're breeding lying, and then 3, you are, what was I about to say? I just lost my train of thought. It just does us a disservice, for real. I mean, I get it. I don't get it. I can't even sit up here and say that I don't get it because of the fact that you're not taking accountability for your actions, especially if you did something wrong. Like, I don't get that part.
Yeah.
That's what integrity is, right?
It's important to take accountability.
Exactly.
When you do that.
Exactly.
Oh, you don't need to take responsibility for that. Oh, they don't need to take responsibility for that. But if nobody takes responsibility for all this stuff that's going on, where are we going to go? We're going to be stuck in that same rut.
Exactly. Which it makes no sense to me. Because I'm trying to think, who was it? I posted it on the group too. Little Bibby, I don't even know who that is. I guess he a rapper or something. I don't know who that Lil Bibby, but he sat up there and said something about he wouldn't call the police if he knew who killed his mom, but he would call the police if somebody stole jewelry, just because he needs to report to make an insurance claim. I'm like, are you serious? Like, did you just hear what you said? How does that make sense logically?
It's
That just
distorted.
shows you our mindset. It's all about the money, the flash, the jewelry, what expensive things you have. It's not about your people. It's not about, we don't care about that stuff. All we care about is driving nice cars, having nice shoes, having nice clothes, having the most expensive this, the most expensive that. But when it comes to your brother and your sister who look just like you can walk right over them, walk right over their dead body because they ain't important to you.
Exactly. Which is sad.
And that's sad. It's like, I've never been big on the whole flashy thing. Like, because my father was like that, even to this day, I buy expensive dress shoes, but I'm not about to drop $250 on a pair of J's that have been retro about 20 times now.
Right.
It's the same shoes over and over again, but we want to look good. We want the materialistic things. It's like, we'll rather drive or have all the nice jewelry and clothes, but be hopping on the bus. We will rather, drive a Bentley down the street, but own a home. It's like, or don't have an established foundation. Like,
exactly.
I have a Toyota Camry, and it gets me from point A to point B. I take care of my car, and it's like, I don't need a Benz. It's like, growing up, did I say, I want to buy me an Aston Martin when I was a kid because I'm a big James Bond fan? Sure. But I'm like, now as an adult, I'm like, even if I have the money, the maintenance on that thing is just not worth it. I'm not going to pay that money for the car. It's like, but unfortunately, it's once again goes back to the media. That's what they see. They see these rappers in the nice cars and the nice house and all this ridiculous amount of jewelry. So that's what they want to emulate. They don't have positive role models to look up to. And my role model growing up was my big brother. But my big brother made sure he was in my life. Nowadays, though, it's like, and my brother is 11 years older than me. But nowadays, when you have kids that far apart, when you have a 13-year-old and then a 2-year-old, that 13-year-old is not trying to be in that 2-year-old life. You're like, that's mommy and daddy's responsibility. I'm trying to kick it. I'm trying to be out there. Mm-hmm. They don't have that positive role model anymore. It's like, so we were raising a different generation than what's going on right now.
And to go along with part of what you said about looking and having the latest and greatest, we got all these clothes and all these material things, but then when we pass away, we don't have life insurance policies to cover our funeral.
No, because GoFundMe is there.
We don't have nothing. Right. We don't have nothing to leave our kids.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I tell my kids all the time, I say, look, and I understand not having stuff to leave your kids. Man, listen, I've been working in the school system. I ain't got no money. So, I try to tell my kids all the time, man, y'all have to take care. If y'all want to go to college, you need to try to get a scholarship, academic, athletic, or both. Right. You gotta work hard to get the things that you want. And it's crazy, so many times we see that, go, like somebody just mentioned, GoFundMe. Like, come on, man, I get it, everybody needs help from somebody. But if you're out here living that life, you need to do it the right way. Back in the day, don't get me wrong, granted, they were doing what they were doing to make their money, but I had a cousin whose baby daddy was a big-time drug dealer. But before he got caught up, what did he do? He put her in a house for her and the kids. She had a car that was working. You know what I'm saying? He made sure he took care of what's important. These days, it's just about the sparkling pockets on your pants, the belt buckles hanging out, the like you said, the latest and greatest J's and that stuff. Man, I get it. You want to look nice. I like shoes. I do. Mm-hmm. But that stuff gets old when you ain't taking care of your business.
Exactly.
Priorities. They don't have their priorities in order.
Exactly.
Right. You gotta. Once you got the basics, then you can focus on, having a little extra that, or if you want to buy something nice for yourself, ain't nothing wrong with that. But if that's all your goal is, it's like, I just want to look nice. To impress who? These people who gonna spit on you?
Exactly. Who gonna give you 5 minutes of their attention and it be gone the next?
Right. Like, who are you impressing? Why are you trying to impress these people who don't want nothing to do with you? Like, it's worthless. Mm-hmm. But we don't. That's what our culture is built on. And the media, like we said before, has they've made this even worse because that's all these kids see. They don't see people. They don't see people working hard no more, especially our people with jobs, who go to work every day, who, you know, trying to pay their bills, trying to make sure they got what they need, you know, who ain't worried about, who live in a simple life. I should put it like that. And we don't want to live like that. We don't want the simple life. And there's nothing wrong with the simple life. The simple life doesn't mean you poor.
Right.
You know, you ain't rocking the best clothes. The simple life is you got, you know, you got a house to live in, you got a car to drive to get you from point A to point B. You got clothes on your back, food on your table. You got life insurance. If hell, you up and die today. Your kid, you got something to leave your kids in case something happened to you or you get disabled. You know, your kids to be able to survive off of what you taught them alone. Instead of what they see in the media, which ain't gonna get them nowhere.
Exactly. Which I still think it goes back to what is Kieran? Did I say it right? I still think it goes back to what Kieran said about the self-respect and also the self-love, because of the fact that we go out here, buy all these flashy things for what? So that another person can see value in ourselves because we don't see value in ourselves. Like, there's no point at the end of the day. Like, if we started to value us living, value other people, I think our mindset would have been totally different, or would be totally different than trying to get that instant gratification from off of someone else. And it's been stemmed from the Willie Lynch era, from the slavery era, because of the fact that we were devalued. So we start devaluing each other and devaluing ourselves. So yes, there is definitely a lot of work we need to do. And I know this is something that's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that needs to start happening now, because we're going to still go on a downward spiral and we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, we have to create some, and like maybe just by creating a group for, you know, for these kids, you know, where we meet, I don't know, once a week or once every couple of weeks, some of these kids can look forward to, where we, you know, teach them these things and we show them, you know, because a lot of these kids don't have love at home.
Yeah.
And it's just a sad thing, you know, they don't have love, they don't have structure, they don't have discipline. So I think if we could, you know, create like a group where we, you know, meet up, take these kids somewhere, let them see that, okay, you ain't got to be rich, you ain't got to do this, you ain't got to have this nice car, whatever. Teach them that it's value in whatever work you do. Value as a person, as an individual, your differences, you know, what you bring to the table is what's important. Like, if we could create that type of group and environment for them, and just, you know, pour love, support, and encouragement into them, and encourage them to, you know, what we're instilling in them, to take it to other people. You know, show that to your mom, show that to your dad, show that to your siblings. If you can't get it, you know, if they're not providing you with that at home, you know, your neighborhood kids, you be that difference.
Exactly.
Because if you know, if each one of y'all, you know, say if it's 5 kids, whatever, each one of y'all go back to y'all neighborhoods and y'all start picking, you know, taking these, what we've taught you, and you know, spreading that within your crew that you hang with, how many people could we reach? Right. Right. Infinite. Like, and that, you know, it'll start changing that whole narrative, because we started with the few, and it's still, and those few are taking it back to where they live.
Exactly. What do y'all think about the March on Washington that's supposed to be coming up? I don't know if y'all seen the George Floyd funeral, but Al Sharpton mentioned that he was going to start another March on Washington coming up in August. What do y'all think about that? I actually wanted to go.
I think it would be great. It would be great if we could show that type of unity, like it was back then. Like, so we could see progress. Because like you said, what's going to happen 6 months from now, 3 months from now? Where are we going to be? Are we this vocal and this adamant about what we want, what we deserve? You know, I think it would be great. It would be a great be a part of history, be a part of, you know, trying to change that narrative for our people.
Yeah, I think it would be outstanding. Yesterday in Cincinnati, we had a men in suits and women in heels march downtown.
Nice.
And when I tell you, I mean, it was hot. It was blazing, but it was amazing. You had all kind of people out there. You had from black males, black females, white men, white women, straight, gay, whatever, and it was peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the police chief here. He was walking through the crowd, acknowledging people. He's a black man. He walked through the crowd with a couple of his people, acknowledging people, shaking hands, and it was no issues. No issues. And I hate the fact that when I was younger, 8-9 years old, I lived in Tennessee, and we had the Million Man March back then, and my dad took me. Granted, back then it wasn't a concern about the police, not as major as it is now, but it was no issues. And I hate the fact that I didn't take my kids because I was concerned about, well, if things get out of hand, then I don't want to put them at risk. But I think something like that in DC would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And the way everybody around the country is going, I don't see this as being one of those. I don't see this as being a fad like it normally is. We get upset about something, then the media, they throw something else out there, and we get caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
I really think what is happening now is going to hopefully it brings about real change.
Right.
Hopefully.
Right.
When they start losing money and certain people start, like, you got a few companies speaking out, like I saw Ben and Jerry's, they kind of went in about the whole issue. I've been seeing stuff, Amazon posted something, Reebok, you gotta, I don't care who you are, or what your thoughts are, you have to start paying attention to those types of things. So I think hopefully we can stay focused for that long. Hopefully we can stay focused until we start to see some change. But I think something like that in a city like that would be great.
Oh, of course. And you know what? I think a lot of these corporations, businesses are starting to say things about what's going on too, because of the fact that they know once they lose the black dollar, that's it for them. Like, we put all our money into everybody else, and they know as soon as we pull out, that's a done data. So, yeah, go ahead and speak up on the Black Lives Matter, because there's a lot of people I've never seen say anything about Black Lives Matter, and we've been dying by the hands of police and a lot for the longest. So now all of a sudden, go ahead. I want y'all to speak out. Go ahead and get that support. Go ahead and dish out some money and help our communities, rebuild them, restructure them, and all of that. And I also feel like this should not just be it. Like, we need to be marching every month for something different, so they know that we're not playing, and we mean business, and we need what we need. Like, it should be something different every month. March for police brutality. Shoot, march to redo our communities. March for black people to be able to get houses at lower rates. Something. It should be a march for something every month until they get sick and tired, because we already know how America likes to do. They'll put something out there to pacify us and then shut us up for a couple of months, and then we'll be right back at the start doing it all over again. No, we need to keep the momentum up every month, year, 10 years, all of that.
Right.
Yeah. Nay, have you heard when are they planning that march in August? Have they decided on a date?
So from what I've read, they're supposed to be doing it August 28th, because that's the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington. So I looked up some flights. They're cheap as ever. They're like $96 for a round trip from Cleveland to there. So I actually am getting a ticket for the 27th to the 29th, because I want to be there that whole weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I'm like $96. That ain't nothing for a round trip. I'll be there. And then if that goes up by the time I do purchase my ticket, I'm like, shoot, I'll drive because it's really not that far. I've driven to.
I've drove to DC many times. It's
right.
5.5 hours.
Right. Yeah. So I'm about to say I done drove to Chicago before. I used to live in Cincinnati and would drive back and forth from Cincinnati and Cleveland. So that ain't nothing. Driving ain't nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be worth it to be there.
Yeah. So is there anything else anybody wants to throw out there that we should discuss before we end?
Oh, not really. I think we covered a lot. I mean, I think the biggest thing we have to do is find a few key points and master those key points before moving on and trying to do different things. And I like we've been discussing, the changing of the mindset, yes. and that's probably going to be the hardest thing. That is more than once you change the mindset of a group of people, everything else is easy. So, yeah, I mean, if we can, like it was said, if we can stay focused long enough, and it's enough people who are really about that change, we change that mindset, and sky's the limit.
Exactly. Well, Tanisha and I are working on something very big. So we're definitely going to be using these discussions a part of what we're planning to put out there. And I think we should probably do like these discussions probably like every week, every other week, or every month. I don't know. Just so that we can continue to keep these topics fresh. Keep the momentum up. I don't want us to like slack off or just wander away from it, because it still needs to be discussed. Even if we say the same things over and over, it just still needs to be put out there. And so I'm going to end up posting this to the group, posting it to the podcast for the group, and then also when we get our group up and running, we're going to post it there, and I'm going to put it on YouTube. I'm just going to put it everywhere. So hopefully we can come together again soon. And like I said, just keep the momentum up. Keep doing this and keep on talking about what we need to talk about. Keep our focus on our focus. So I thank you guys for participating. Like I said again, I was recording. I think it stopped the video record, but I still got it recording audio. So I'm gonna post that. I will let y'all know. Karen, are you on Facebook?
I am. Well, I took a temporary break because of everything going on. I just got tired of the negativity, but I have a Facebook account though.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually send you a Facebook request, and I'll tag you in this too, because I rarely tag anything or post videos and stuff like that on my Instagram, but I may do it on my other Instagram account. But I'll definitely tag you on Facebook.
Okay.
All right.
I'll probably go ahead and finally reactivate it. It's been about 2 months now.
Oh, dang. Oh, yeah. You was like, oh, no, I'm gone from this for real. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again for participating. And I, of course, holla at y'all.
All right. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right.